All right, what are 5 ways that you can make sure that you don't get injured anymore? Well, the first one is to make sure that you're doing a warm up. Why do we warm up? Because as we move our bodies around more and more, we generate heat as a byproduct of that motion. That heat makes our tissues more resilient. It makes them stretchy, makes them resistant to getting injured. And when you start using those muscles for your sport, you're driving more blood flow there. That blood, of course, brings more heat as well, making those tissues soft and pliable. Think about a cold rubber band. If you were just to stretch it suddenly, it would probably snap or break. Same kind of thing happens with our muscles. If you go and use them without having a warm up, you've probably found this out at some point in your life, you're going to get injured. So make sure you're incorporating a warm up. Second thing to think about is sport specific strength training. Now, I get a lot of runners in clinic who say, I don't need to go to the gym. You know, my legs are already strong. I run 60, 70 miles a week. Well, that's true. Your legs are strong, but what about your low back? What about your neck? What about your shoulders? There's always parts of our body that aren't directly involved in our sport that are susceptible to getting injured because we don't actually strengthen them. So make sure that you're doing some sport specific strength training for your entire body, regardless of whether you just swim or bike or run or do some other solitary type sport. So make sure you're getting that strength training done. Third thing we need to think about is our sleep. So every time we go and exercise, there's some degree of micro damage that occurs in our body. Whether you've just done an easy 3-mile run and you don't feel it, there's a little bit of damage there. Of course, the harder you go, the faster and the longer you go, you're going to have more damage. But if you're not sleeping, you can't repair that damage because, of course, when we're sleeping, that's when we're making growth hormone. That's when a lot of our physical repair occurs, is while we're lying down in bed, not using our body. So if your sleep is off, please make sure you get it fixed, because after a while, that chronic sleep deprivation or poor sleep is going to allow those little micro injuries to accumulate, setting you up for the big one eventually. Now that leads me into my next one, and that is our cortisol levels. So when you don't sleep, your cortisol levels go up. When you're stressed out, when you're overtrained, cortisol levels go up, right? You hear about this stuff all the time. Well, cortisol is actually a catabolic hormone, meaning it kind of breaks things down in our body. So it's really good at helping us store fat and really good at tearing down muscle mass. So when we are making tons of cortisol, our tissues are becoming weaker and weaker over time. And of course, this is a chronic thing. You're not going to notice this after just one bad day, but you link up several bad days, several bad nights of sleep, you're going to be more susceptible to getting those injuries. So make sure you do what you can to get your cortisol levels under control. Now, the fourth or the last thing that we need to think about is stretching and body work. Now, we've all been out on a training run or a ride or something like that. And you come home and you've got a little something in your back or a little something in your neck. You need to pay attention to these small things, right? Because if you ignore those and you go out and you say run tomorrow with a little hitch in your back, that's going to alter your gait. That could set you up for an injury elsewhere in your body. So remember, we're all connected. It's all holistic. Even if you've got an ache in one end of your body and you don't necessarily use in your sport, that is going to alter your form and your function and thereby possibly set you up for an injury. So make sure that you get home, that you stretch, that you ice, that you take enzymes, that you take anti-inflammatories, whatever it is you need to do to work on your own body before it becomes too big of an issue to where you have to go see an expert and you're out of the game. Okay, so remember, do your warm up, do your sport specific strength training, make sure your sleep is good, make sure your cortisol levels are in check, and make sure you get home after your workout or your race or your event and that you stretch and you do body work. Okay guys, hope this helps you out. If you enjoyed the video, give it a like, please subscribe to our channel, and please share it with your buddies.